Today I want to talk about something a little bit different from the usual. If you didn't already know, there's a constructed language called Toki Pona whose claim to fame is that it doesn't have a lot of words. Originally this was done with the intent of encouraging a particular philosophical way of thinking, and as part of this, the number system was made deliberately limited. The word one means one, the word tu means two, and the word mute means any amount greater than two. And that was it. Though not very precise, it was well defined, there was no ambiguity. However, eventually, stating precise numbers became necessary, so a new number system was adopted where luka, the word for hand, is used for 5, mute now also means 20, and ale, the word for all or every, now also means 100. Other numbers are then made by combining these basic numbers. One obvious problem is this. Does yan mute mean a lot of people or 20 people? In practice, it only ever means a lot of people, so if you want to say 20 people, you're kinda screwed. Similarly, does len luka mean gloves or 5 clothes? Does len luka luka mean 10 clothes or 5 gloves? Since this system obviously sucks, so many alternative number systems have been proposed that it's now a rite of passage to make one, and two opposing camps have emerged. On one side, you have people who say numbers are harmless and kinda necessary at this point anyways, so there's no problem with trying to invent better number systems. On another side, you have people who want to stick more or less to the original 1, 2, mute number system on the grounds that numbers are against the Toki Pona philosophy, or that Toki Pona shouldn't have numbers because they're too capitalist or something. I happen to think this take is ridiculous. Plenty of cultures had numbers before capitalism, and Toki Ponists make surveys about stuff that has nothing to do with capitalism all the time. But anyways, on one hand, I sympathize with the frustrations of the number skeptics. There are times when I want to use the word one for its content meaning of unity, but since I almost always see it used just for its numerical meaning, I worry about being misunderstood. On the other hand, there is already a standard number system and it's probably not going to go away because it's genuinely useful at times. Fortunately, I think there's a solution to the number problem, which would be satisfactory to both parties. The language already uses the standard word nampa for ordinal numbers, so nampa 1 is first, or most, nampa 2 is second, and so on. A nice side effect is that it allows any content word to work like a number. I think there should be an analogous particle for amounts. I propose ge from Mandarin ge, the most common classifier word in Mandarin, which uses said classifiers after number words. The sitelempona here is just a random version of the character for ge, to distinguish it from directional ni. Since ge is already a documented but extremely rare interjection, using it for this new purpose would let us cheese adding a new word to the language without confusion. And I know this ge already has a sitelempona, but I came up with this symbol before I knew ge was documented, and at this point I'm too used to it to change it. If ge were used at all times to specify numbers, then the ambiguity of luka, mute, and ale would disappear, compounds would become clear again, and it would be possible to use 1 and 2 in a way that only refers to their content meanings if united and divided, while also making nimisin for numbers even more redundant because existing words could be adopted instead. All of this is good news for the number skeptics. On the other hand, number fans could freely use numbers whenever they'd like without risk of being misunderstood, play around with new number systems with a lesser risk of confusion, and even get a quote-unquote canonical way to talk about multiplication. I think using ni with ge could also add a nice bit of redundancy to indicate whether or not you're going to introduce a relative clause. That's all.